Did you know that 95% of English learners can understand complex videos, but freeze completely when someone asks them a simple question like, "What have you been up to lately?" If you're nodding right now, you're about to discover something that will change everything about how you approach English conversations forever. In the next 30 minutes, you're going to learn why everything you've been taught about English conversation is actually holding you back. And I'll show you the exact techniques that will make you sound natural and confident in any English conversation. By the end of this lesson, you'll have the tools to never again stand there speechless when someone tries to talk to you. Here's what most people don't realize about English conversation. The rules you learned in school are actually sabotaging your ability to sound natural. Native speakers break grammar rules constantly, and if you keep following textbook English, you'll always sound robotic and formal. Today, I'm going to reveal the 5 critical grammar rules you need to break if you want to sound fluent, plus give you 50 real conversation starters that will make people want to keep talking to you. Think about the last time you had a conversation in English. Did you find yourself struggling to find the right words, or maybe you knew what to say, but it came out sounding awkward and unnatural? That's because you've been programmed to use classroom English instead of real English. The truth is, native speakers use completely different patterns, and once you understand these patterns, conversations become effortless. Let me start with something that might shock you. When someone calls and asks, "Is this Maria?" you were probably taught to respond with, "To whom am I speaking?" This sounds incredibly formal and outdated. Real people say, "Who's this?" Or, "Who am I speaking with?" It's that simple. The word whom has almost disappeared from everyday conversation, and using it makes you sound like you're reading from a Victorian novel. Here's another rule you need to break immediately. Your grammar teacher told you to say, "There are a lot of problems with this plan." But listen to how native speakers actually talk. "There's a lot of problems with this plan." Technically, it's wrong because problems is plural and needs are, but this is exactly how fluent speakers talk. Fighting against this natural tendency will make you sound stiff and unnatural. The same thing happens with conditional sentences. You learned, "If I were from France, I would speak French." And while this is technically correct, most people actually say, "If I was from France, I would speak French." Both versions are used equally, but was is more common in casual conversation. Don't let perfectionism stop you from sounding natural. Here's a perfect example of overthinking grammar. Instead of saying, "Before I started learning English, I had thought it was impossible," people simply say, "Before I started learning English, I thought it was impossible." We naturally simplify complex tenses in conversation because communication is about clarity, not showing off grammatical knowledge. And here's the rule that drives English teachers crazy: ending sentences with prepositions. You were taught to say, "In which car do you want to go?" But everyone actually says, "Which car do you want to go in?" The second version flows naturally and is used in all types of English, from casual conversations to business meetings. Don't let artificial rules make your English sound unnatural. Now that you understand how real English works, let's focus on having actual conversations. The biggest challenge most learners face isn't grammar. It's knowing what to say and how to keep a conversation flowing naturally. I'm going to give you 50 essential questions and responses that will cover almost any conversation situation you'll encounter. When someone greets you with, "How's your day going?" don't just say "Fine." Try "Pretty good, how about yours?" This creates a natural back and forth flow. If you're having a difficult time, you can simply respond, "It's going." This communicates that things are challenging without getting into details. Native speakers understand this immediately. For making plans, master these natural patterns. What are you up to today? Do you want to hang out later? You doing anything fun this weekend? These questions sound casual and friendly, not formal or awkward. When responding, always try to include a follow-up or invitation. We're going to get together with family that's visiting. What about you? When discussing hobbies and interests, people love specific details. Instead of saying, "I like reading," try, "I love making jewelry out of recycled materials and selling them at craft shows." This gives the other person multiple conversation threads to pick up on. They might ask about the creative process, the environmental aspect, or the business side. For work conversations, go beyond basic job titles. When someone asks, "What do you do?" you might say, "I am a teacher, and I really love working with people and seeing them grow and develop." This shows passion and opens up opportunities for deeper conversation about education, personal development, or working with people. Here's something crucial that most English learners get wrong. They think they need perfect grammar and extensive vocabulary before they can start speaking. This is completely backwards. If you can understand videos like this one, your English level is already high enough for conversations. The problem isn't your ability, it's your confidence. The biggest mistake I see is learners who spend years studying but never actually practice speaking. They memorize vocabulary lists and grammar rules, but when it comes time for real conversation, they freeze up. This is like trying to learn swimming by reading books about water. You have to get in the pool eventually. Here's what successful English speakers do differently. They start speaking before they feel ready. They make mistakes, learn from them, and keep going. Every conversation teaches you something new about natural English that you can't learn from textbooks. The key is creating safe opportunities to practice. Start with simple descriptions of your environment. I see a computer monitor. I see a couch. The birds outside are chirping. When you don't know a word, look it up immediately and write it down. This builds vocabulary and context, which is infinitely more effective than memorizing word lists. The perfectionist mindset is your biggest enemy in English learning. If you're waiting until your English is good enough to start speaking, you're wasting precious time. Every day you delay is another day you could be improving through actual practice. Remember, native speakers make mistakes too. The goal is communication, not perfection. Here's a practical exercise that will boost your confidence immediately. Have conversations with yourself. Practice responding to common questions out loud. When you hear, "How was your weekend?" practice different responses. "It was great. We went hiking and tried a new restaurant." Or, "It was pretty quiet." Which was exactly what I needed. This preparation makes real conversations feel natural. One critical point about taking notes: scientific research proves that writing information down, especially by hand, helps your brain retain it much better. As you learn new phrases or expressions, write them down immediately. Don't just watch lessons passively. Engage actively with the material. The most successful English speakers I know follow one simple rule. They speak English in a conversation setting at least once per week. This creates a deadline that motivates preparation and provides regular practice opportunities. Whether it's with a language exchange partner, a conversation group, or even online video calls, consistent practice is essential. Think about this. When you exercise once per month, you don't see much improvement. But when you exercise regularly, even for short periods, you see dramatic changes. English conversation works exactly the same way. Regular, consistent practice beats occasional intensive study sessions every time. Here's my challenge for you. Identify whether you're a perfectionist who's been holding yourself back. Can you forgive yourself when you make mistakes in English? Can you focus on communication rather than perfection? This mental shift is often more important than any grammar rule or vocabulary list. The truth is, every mistake you make in English conversation is actually valuable data. It shows you exactly where you need to focus your learning energy. Native speakers appreciate the effort you're making to communicate in their language. They're not judging your grammar mistakes. Remember, confidence in English conversation comes from practice, not perfection. Start speaking before you feel ready. Make mistakes in safe environments. Write down new phrases immediately. Focus on communication over grammatical correctness. Most importantly, be patient with yourself as you develop this skill. Your English conversation ability will improve dramatically when you stop trying to sound like a textbook and start sounding like a real person. Break those artificial grammar rules, use contractions and natural patterns, and focus on connecting with people rather than impressing them with perfect English. The next time someone asks you, "What have you been up to lately?" you'll be ready with a natural, engaging response that keeps the conversation flowing. You'll sound confident, friendly, and genuinely interested in connecting with others, and that's what real English conversation is all about.